So this is the sweet spot for me, where I can have just as much fun as I want without anything getting too crazy. Let's see. And so that's what I mean there. Like, that guy didn't know I was going to be accelerating that much, and on something like a street triple, could I have gone even faster? Yeah. Would that be more dangerous? Yeah. So it's a Goldilocks of a bike. That's the best word I can use to describe it. Everything about it is just right. Is it more capable than a lot of bikes out there? Yes. Is it not quite as capable as a lot of other bikes out there? Absolutely. But I think for me and a lot of other riders out there, and that's why it's gotten so much attention, is it's just right. It's just right in price. It's just right in performance. It's just right in appearance. And that's why I'm loving this bike so far.
Hello everyone. I wanted to do an early review, first impressions video of my 2022 Triumph Trident 660, but there's two reasons I haven't done one. One, there's hundreds of videos like that all over YouTube from professional motor journalists with actual budgets, and I've already put over 300 miles on the bike, so I'm probably a little late for a first impression on that one. Also, I'm not a journalist borrowing a bike for the day. I'm an actual owner, so instead I'd like to go back and discuss the reasons that I actually bought the bike in the first place. Now, I should stop and say shout out to Tech Bike Parts and Moto Bob, because they actually did buy the bike that they reviewed, and I respect them for that. But maybe after a few more 100 miles I can do a 500-mile review and discuss more of the ownership experience. So in no particular order, here are the reasons that I bought a Triumph Trident 660. Number one, I was not in love with the bike that I was riding at the time. Before I bought the Trident, I had a 2018 Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic with a 114 Milwaukee 8 engine. It was a really nice bike, and I bought it thinking that I would take it on long trips. There were a lot of things that I liked about it, but there were a lot of things I didn't like about it. I could do a whole other video about that, and maybe I will, but long story short, I wasn't riding it. I was just sitting in the garage, and I didn't end up taking it on the long trips that I thought I was going to take. Part of that was COVID and things were shut down, but I can't use that as an excuse for everything. It just wasn't the main reason, and when I tried to figure out why I wasn't riding it, it just came down to it wasn't the bike for me. That brings me to point number two, the looks of the Trident. I think I fell out of love with the Harley when I saw the Trident. And I'll be honest, I didn't like it at first, but after I saw the first few videos on YouTube, it had planted a seed. And I started watching more and more videos, reading more reviews, looking at pictures online, on Triumph's website, and there was just something about the style, the look, the lines, colors of the bike that I liked more and more. And so I think since I was unhappy with my current bike, it just made me more susceptible to looking at other bikes, and I really found the Trident to be attractive looking. And I think that's important in a motorcycle, that you like what you're riding, you like the looks of it when you're not even riding it. You turn around and walk away, and look at the bike as you're walking away from it. And my first bike was a Honda CB500X in matte black. After that, I had a Triumph Street Twin in silver. And when I showed my wife the Trident and said, "What do you think?" she looked at it and said, "It looks like a blend of your first two bikes." And I had to agree, and it was like that blend in a really cool way. It was a modern looking bike, but it was still somehow classic at the same time. The round headlight and a round tank, upright bars, all of that worked for me. And I know that looks are subjective, but I think it's important that when you spend the money that something like a motorcycle can cost, you have to love the way it looks first. Now, speaking of money, the third reason I bought a Trident is the value. It is a lot of motorcycle for the price. In the Triumph lineup, it costs less than a Street Twin, which I'd had before, but it still has outstanding performance and features. In a lot of ways, I think it outperforms the Street Twin. And going back to the Harley, I bought that bike used, but it would have been over $18,000 new. And for that money, I figured I could have a Trident to ride around town and on twisties without feeling like I was robbing my kids' college fund. And maybe someday I could add a second bike and maybe something more dedicated for long rides and for touring and get that used and still be under $18,000. So for the price of one Harley Davidson, you could have two really good bikes that were more capable at doing the job that they were designed to do. That brings me to reason number 4. I expect that this could still be a very versatile bike. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a fun bike to take on short trips and ride around town. Is it a touring bike? No, especially if you want to travel with a passenger. But neither is the Street Twin, and I rode mine from South Carolina to Oregon and back one summer. I think that this bike is going to be popular enough that the aftermarket is going to come out with a lot of interesting parts and accessories that are going to make this bike capable of playing a wider variety of roles. I think with a few pieces of good luggage, you could easily make this into a light sport tourer luggage and maybe a small shield. It could definitely be a modest track bike, a really solid commuter. It could be all sorts of things depending on what else comes out and what the aftermarket can do. Now, reason number 5 goes back to my last two bikes, the Street Twin and the Harley. Like I said, there were many things I liked about the Harley, and I'm not bashing Harley Davidson, but I missed owning a Triumph after having the Street Twin since 2016. And I just missed the Triumph fit and finish, the attention to details, little quirks like having to pull in the clutch to start the bike. And I think everyone gravitates toward certain brands. You know, every brand has something unique about them, a certain feel. And I guess Triumph just does it for me. And last of all, I think this is just a Goldilocks of a bike. That's the best word I can come up for it. It's the performance is just right for sure. It's good enough to be lots of fun, but still really easy to ride around. It's always within my modest riding skills. I knew that something like the Street Triple can outperform the Trident easily, but to me it doesn't necessarily make that a better bike. In some ways, the Street Triple I think would have been too much for what I was looking for right now. It's the Street Triple is kind of like that friend that orders another round of shots when you've said you're ready to go home. I imagined that it would always be whispering in my ear to go faster. Until the last thing I'd hear would be the song of the sausage creature. But the Trident seemed safer, more responsible. It has everything, in balance, the value, the looks, the power, the brakes, the handling, the comfort. Everything seems just right. It's balanced. If you changed any one of those factors, you would throw off the others. Like, yes, you could make it more powerful, but then you would need better brakes, and then it would be more expensive, and then you lessen the value. So, there's so often, many times in this world where we get caught up in attaining the best. And we think about the best in a very one-dimensional terms, like top speed. The fastest bike is the best, or most horsepower, or the fastest 0 to 60 time. And we ignore all the other things that were sacrificed to achieve that one specification, and the lack of the balance that's a result of that achievement. But not Triumph. With this bike, they made it balanced. They made it just right. And that's why I decided to buy it. So thanks for watching. Until next time.